Mesela farklı savaş kenarlarında mesela bu önemli de bir iki yerlerde bir soru var. Hadi de şimdi. Tamam. İşler aramızda ilk bir soru. Nasıl bir
Good morning, honorable members of the commission, dear supervisor, and also chairman and dear teachers. I am Karika informal mobilization bilgileri tartışılan kampüsün olan Princeton Enhancement Üniversitesi Katılımı.
İmza var. Ticaret mi oldu mu? İmza var.
Masih lama terus.
Good morning, respected professors, teachers, and students, and dear committee members of the committee.
Hello,
My name is
Sorumluluğumuz en ağırlıklı ülke kuruluşu, DIPLOM kısa raporlaması. Eserimiz entikler, Endüstri için mağazada, indirapat, kurulma, kurulma başlarında. İstatisçe, Batı Özdeği Bakım Mağazası, taş kardeşi sırada, Adoğu ile Osmanlı mutfağı arkası.
Good morning, respected professors, teachers, and students, and dear members of the examination committee. My name is Rita Sindinova, senior year student of the Faculty of World Languages at and now I'd like to begin my presentation if you are ready. So first let me briefly introduce the structure of my presentation. My presentation consists of 3 chapters. First, I will discuss the assessment and feedback in ELT, English Language Teaching, and then I will explain challenges and improvement strategies. And finally, I will present my classroom experiment and its results. Now let us move to the introduction part. So, why does topic so matter? Nowadays, education reform has become one of the main properties in Uzbekistan, and special attention is being paid to the improvement of foreign language education, especially English language teaching. So, the President of Republic of Uzbekistan has repeatedly emphasized the importance of modern education, independent thinking, and innovative teaching approaches. And this problem motivates me to choose this topic. The main aim of my research is to analyze assessment and feedback in English language teaching from both theoretical and foundational perspectives. To achieve this aim, I set several objectives. As you can see from the screen, first objective is examine the theoretical foundation of assessment ELT, and then analyze the nature and forms of feedback in language learning, and identify challenges in implementing assessment and feedback, and evaluate improvement strategies from research, and the final objective that I set is conduct and report a classroom experiment with measurable results. And also we have the object of my research is the process of assessment and feedback in English language teaching. While the subject of my research is the practical implementation of assessment and feedback in ELT classroom, particularly in the context of Uzbekistan. To conduct this study, I used several research methods, including literature analysis, comparative analysis, and a classroom experiment. And the scientific novelty of the research lies in combining international theories of assessment and feedback with practical classroom experience in Uzbekistan. So, and the last thing that I covered in my introduction part is the structure of my graduation qualification work. It consists of an introduction, 3 chapters, a conclusion, a list of references, and appendixes at the end of the research. The first chapter discusses theoretical foundation. The second chapter focuses the challenges like assessment and feedback in ELT. So, and the third chapter presents classroom practices and the results of the experiment. Now I would like to move on to the theoretical part of my research, that is chapter 1. So, what is assessment in ELT? We have assessment and evaluation, as you can see, and the two really differ. So, assessment is a continuous process of collecting information about students' language abilities, such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing. It helps teachers make better teaching decisions. It's also important to distinguish between assessment and evaluation. As you can see, so many young generation also in today's world confuse the differences between assessment and evaluation. Assessment refers to collecting information about students' performance, while evaluation means judging whether educational goals have been achieved. In simple words, assessment is the tool and the evaluation is the overall process. Alright. So next thing is the 5 principles of assessment. There are typically 5 important principles in assessment that we can use in our classroom experiment and also schools or university. So first is validity, which is achieved when an assessment method is comes with the material and curriculum itself, and when the results of the assessment are accurate indicators of what they claim to measure. Because validity measures what it's supposed to measure. And the second is reliability, meaning that results should be consistent if a teacher administers the same task to the same student or the matched student on a few different occasions. The results should be comparable. Third is authenticity. As you can see from the slide, which it uses real life language tasks. Like authenticity is a real life task that we use it and that we can see in a real life situation. And the next word is the practicality, meaning that assessment should be easy to administer and score. And the finally is the washback, very important thing. Like washback refers to the positive influence of assessment and on teaching and learning. Washback effect may be positive or negative, and this principle ensures effective assessment in the classroom environment. So next is the types of assessment. So prior to this slide, we discussed about the principles of assessment. Now it's time to discuss, I will explain of course, the types of assessment. There are certainly two types of assessment. That is called as formative assessment and summative assessment. They are very different from each and be used in different occasions. So assessment can be divided into formative and summative assessment as I told. Formative assessment takes place during the learning process. It helps teachers identify students' weaknesses and provide support. Like examples include like quizzes, observations, and the exit tickets. Some of these teachers in our faculty also use the exit tickets after finishing the lesson. And the summative assessment occurs at the end of the course or unit. Example includes like final tests or tests or exams. Both types are necessary because formative assessment improves learning, while summative assessment ensures achievement. As I told, okay, that's it. All right, the next, feedback. The next I'm going to tell about the feedback. Feedback is the information given to the students about their performance. Its purpose is to help students improve and react their learning goals. Effective feedback should be timely, specific, actionable, and balanced, and of course, looking forward to. And in other words, feedback should tell students not only what is wrong, but also how they can improve. And because of that, feedback plays an important role in human and learning education. The next slide is the types of feedback. That is, as you can see, we have 4 types of feedback, and it's considered the major types of feedback that we can see or face in our classroom environment. So, the oral feedback is given during and after speaking activities. As you can see, oral is verbal, and oral feedback can be evaluative, corrective, descriptive, or motivational. You can see feedback as of motivational too. So, and according to Laufer and Ramsha, the researchers of feedback, 1997, there are 5 main oral feedback strategies, as we can recall. The first is explicit correction, where the teacher directly points out the mistake and provides correct answer.
Thank you for your qualification work. You explained everything, but I have a question. It will be on the conference, But now in your slide, you have shown only just 2 types of assessment, right? Formative and But actually, you should describe the future assessment. But why didn't discuss about another type of assessment, like self-assessment?
Self-assessment type?
Yeah.
Alright, I think.
Assessing, for example, self-assessment is also known as self-assessment. Yes.
Self-assessment. Alright, so, yeah, maybe. Alright.
But why didn't you show the other types of it? Because the main concept of your qualification is assessment and feedback in English language teaching.
Okay.
Yes, in here only just you are doing two types in general way. Formative is and summative is. But reason itself they have also their own types, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Let alone the types of formative and summative, but why didn't you discuss about like here?
I discussed it during, if you read my qualification work, you can see that I explained, I discussed everything in detail. But that is the time very short, and I just skip it because I only focus on the main important things that I will tell you. And the main thing of assessment and the type of assessment, if you ask somebody or there what type of assessment, you know, they always tell two types of assessment. Because during our bachelor's degree, only discussed about formative and formative assessment type. There is a less attention for self-assessment. Of course, it may help, I can discuss it, I know it very well, but I just had to tell you the main important things in order to be, make it easy to follow.
But you didn't catch my question, you know? Actually, I'm asking why didn't you pay attention? Here is some additional information about this type of, because you should discuss about this key concept. You know? But if you explain it here in the qualification paper about the other side, formative assessment this is, summative assessment this is, but we have another effective assessing based on student knowledge, like even peer assessment and self-assessment, like it would be better, you know, if you explain anything, if you give additional information about the other types of. I'm just giving my advice.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
So, hold on a minute.
Well, you tried to explain your qualification for well, and I have a question. You have mentioned that two types of assessment, formative assessment and summative assessment, and I think you know both of these better. That's why, can you give us any samples of formative assessment which you use in your class? Formative assessment or formative assessment, which one is the document, but you can give us samples. Yes?
Yeah, formative assessment.
Okay,
so formative assessment is I use as a teacher, as I am a teacher, and I've been teaching for over 4 years. And formative assessment is very easy for me to follow because every day after I just introduce a new topic, the next day I will give them quizzes. That is formative assessment in order to check their weaknesses and what they improve with, how well they acknowledge the topic, how well they understand. It's a formative assessment. And after every week, I just do another, for example, online digital technology. There is a lot of websites that can be used during formative assessment test. And that's easy, and they just give the results quickly and better, and feedback is also give. And I think I will use this kind of thing in order to. How?
What form?
What form? Paper-based, mostly.
Multiple choice question.
You mean a reading listening? Yeah. From listening? Yeah. I give we had the types of questions. If from reading test, if I explain the true false not given, I try to give in one week only true false not given questions. And then we discuss I give keywords and this kind of thing I will use.
Like create, fishbowl, more like this activity. What kind of these assessment, formative assessment or summative assessment? Why using these games or activities?
Games.
Games like word walk. Have you heard about this one?
Okay, alright. So, gaming is also very important considering the age of students. Because if you're teaching adult students, gaming is not the main thing during the class. Because I study it myself and I teach myself. The gaming, okay, if I choose gaming, so for the considering of ages of the students, I particularly choose bamboozle games and other types of games as well. Not every day, like it's very occasionally I choose because I have believed that my students do not and should not only depend on games. They should know, they should like try themselves because I don't like games myself too, and I'm very not in that mood like gaming.
In this case, how do you encourage your students to learn the language? If you don't use the language, they should be encouraged to learn the language.
Yeah, as I told you, I rarely use bamboozle and it's very interactive. And of course, like besides bamboozle, I also use what's the game, like what's called in the version, some kind of like very music.
If you use that game, how do your students be assessed?
Assessed
How?
of their
By yourself?
no. The game has a platform that makes like the coins, collect the coins, yeah? And I select them into one group and two groups, like I do like 4 students or 3 students, I make them teams. And the gaming platform has the option that collects the marks itself, and it's very convenient. I don't use pen or pencil to collect their marks on myself. And it's very important thing. And the gaming, I'm not use like funny games. I just use the games that are related to the topic very precisely. I should consider like the topic, and they immediately recall the topic and they remember by doing this game. They remember the topic better or whatever.
Have you ever used peer assessment?
Peer assessment? Yeah.
Why?
I use like peer assessment is assessing students not by teachers, by their other classmates or classmates, right? Like speaking test after one student will answer the question from speaking assessment. I'm not assessed first of all. I ask from classmates, what did he say or what does she say about is he saying that this kind of thing. And they will assess first. They will like give what the vocabulary they use, how what the grammatical rate they use, and how vocabulary complexity was like A1 or A2 or B1 or B2. They will assess first, and I will monitor them. I will monitor them, and I will assess myself after they assess this class. And it's very important because even if I do it, they listen attentively in order to answer my questions, and this improves their attentiveness and observation better.
Also, in final exam, they mentioned.
Okay.
So there one. In the final exam, what kind of assessment do you usually do?
What type of assessment?
What type of
As a teacher, yeah?
Yeah, as a teacher.
I
In adult course, yeah? Not family.
use formative assessment. Formative assessment.
Type.
Mostly I will print out the full 30 quizzes, or I make by myself. I'm not copying from other internet sources. I try to be myself and to write everything on myself because I know students. I know what I taught, and I know how what's the grammatical range I taught, and then I use final test after a month of teaching. Quizzes, mostly quizzes. Mostly quizzes.
And what about listening?
If it's I basic group, it's not a general basic general English group. Only I will teach reading, listening, writing, and speaking. And in that perspective, I give them the authentic material. Yeah, authentic material that reflect the real life situation. Or from like from past examination that
First of all, Mr. my congratulations on your final defending process. So here I have just one question. While preparing to your qualification work, you have your experimental process. So what kind of difficulties did you come across? In your research?
yeah. There's one basic difficulty I face. Okay, that research is from schools. As you know, schools like students from one class have different kinds of knowledge and levels. One is my A2, one is my B1, or one is my B2 as well. And conducting research is very important considering their knowledge, their level of education. And so, I give mostly listening skills, like one lesson I give them listening, not all students, because not all, like A1 students cannot solve listening tests. And while B1 or B2 level students solving listening, I distributed quizzes for A1 level students because they should know the topic, they should solve, first of all, they should know the grammar better, and then if they know this better, and then I'll give like simple listening quizzes after all. And it's the basic challenge that I faced during experiment.
Thank you very much.
Bahwa yang dia lakukan sinav program kurulmuştu. Uzun koyuyoruz. Oşanan görürsüz. Rasmileştirdiğim yollarını geçerliyoruz. Bundan keyin bahwa sinav.
Endi science formasyonu talabalari yo'lga chiqqanda hech kerak narsa bor. Avval ish bo'ladi. Ustozdagi savollar uchun rahmat aytib, keyin shoshilmasdan javob o'tiladi. Bu yerda hozir dars o'tayotgan o'qituvchimiz siz diplomaga erishishingizni himoya qiladi. Bu yerda o'tirgan o'qituvchi hammasi o'sha qualified ustozlar, ularni bilim darajasiga ko'makchi chiqqan bo'ladi. Savol ish bor, eskidi. Biz juda qanaqa ayatda 9 darajangiz boshqadir, lekin birinchi o'rinda hozirgi talabaga yetganingiz bor. Savol ish bor, savol ish bo'lgandan keyin rahmat deb javob berishga keyin bu kechaga hamma narsa. Rahmat.
Good morning, dear respected members of the Dear teacher, my name is Jaya. Today I would like to present my graduation qualification work entitled Comparative Analysis of English and Culture Medium. Today, this research is devoted to studying idioms in English and Uzbek languages, comparing their meaning, cultural features, translation methods, and their role in language teaching. Now I would like to present the main points of my research. Language reflects culture and worldview. Every language and culture are closely connected. Everything has its own traditions, values, and way of thinking. When people speak, they also show their culture through language. That's why language is often considered a reflection of nation's worldview. Idioms are important units expressing figurative meaning. Idioms are special expressions whose meanings are different from the meanings of individual words. For example, if you translate an idiom word by word, you may not understand its real meaning. Because of this, idioms are one of the most important interesting parts of language. Idioms and speech and show national identity. Idioms make speech more colorful and expressive. They help people sound more natural. At the same time, idioms show national identity of the people because they are closely connected with traditions, history, and also everyday life. This research analyzes English and Uzbek idioms comparatively. For this reason, in my research, I compared English and Uzbek idioms. I tried to identify both similarities and differences between them. The object of my research idioms expressions in English and Uzbek languages. I selected idioms because they are widely used in daily communication and reflect cultural values. The subject of my research includes structural features, semantic characteristics, cultural aspects, translation methods, and teaching methods. In other words, I studied how idioms are formed, what they mean, how they can be translated, how they can be taught effectively. The main aim of my research was to analyze similarities and differences between Uzbek and English idioms. I do some research during my research, define idiom and its features. First, I studied the definition of idioms and their main characteristics. Study history of idiom research. I examined how this scholars studied in idiom linguistics, compared semantic groups, analyzed. After that, I compared different groups of idioms in English and Uzbek, showed teaching effectiveness. Finally, I studied the importance of idioms in language and learning and teaching. My research is based on several well-known scholars. These are our Kunik. Kunik is one of the most important scholars in sociology. His work helped me understand idiom classification and translation. Next scholar is Fernando. Fernando studied idioms meaning and figurative language. George Lakoff explains idioms through conceptual metaphors. According to him, many idioms are connected with human thinking and experiences. Last one is Shafet Rahmatullayev. Rahmatullayev made a significant contribution to Uzbek sociology. His work helped me analyze Uzbek idioms. The main concepts used in my research are semantic non-compositionality, structural stability, and cultural specificity. These concepts explain why idioms are unique linguistic units. Distinctive features of idioms. These are, first one, non-literal meaning. One of the main features of idioms is non-literal meaning. Their meanings cannot understand by translating each word separately. For example, keep the bus. The next one is fixed structure. Idioms usually have a fixed form. Their words cannot easily make expressions. For example, break the arm. Next one is reproducibility. People use idioms as ready-made expressions. Next one is cultural identity. Many idioms reflect culture and tradition. For example, lose one's hat. It means washing your partner. It is Uzbek equivalent is washing your partner. Next example is art of song, just relax. Both describe a person who lacks empathy. In my research, I found many idioms are similar in both languages. For example, lose one's hat, washing your partner. Both idioms express losing control or becoming confused. Another example, heart of stone or shirai. Both describe a cold-hearted person. Given hand, forgerma, both describe both idioms mean helping people. These examples show that some idioms are based on common human experiences. Because of this, they are very similar in different languages. However, not all idioms are similar. Some idioms are closely connected with culture. For example, carry falls in castle. In Uzbek, equivalent is Tashkent'te davul al-barish. These idioms reflect national history, social experience, cultural worldview. This difference comes from different historical and cultural backgrounds. Therefore, culture-specific idioms show the unique worldview of each nation. For easier analysis, I divided idioms into several groups. These are somatic idioms. These idioms connected with body parts. For example, head, heart, eyes, and hand idioms. They also show strong similarities in both languages. Second one is animal-related idioms. These idioms use animals to describe people and behavior. Different cultures may use different animals for the same idea. The next one is color idioms. These idioms are based on colors. For example, red, white, blue, or green. Some meanings are universal, while others are culture-specific. The next one is emotional idioms. These idioms express feelings such as happiness, sadness, and anger or fear. This first statement helps me convey feelings more effectively. Translation methods. Translation is one of the most important parts of my research. Main translation methods which are using full equivalence. Sometimes an idiom has a direct equivalent in another language. For example, heart of stone or shirai. Using partial equivalence, sometimes meanings are similar but structures are different. The next one is paraphrasing. If there is no equivalence, we can explain the meaning. The next one is cultural substitution. Sometimes we replace an idiom with a culturally associated expression. Main difficulties, the biggest problem is cultural differences. Sometimes direct translation doesn't convey the real meaning of the idiom. Therefore, translators need both language knowledge and cultural knowledge. Teaching idioms. Idioms are very useful in language learning. It improves speaking fluency. Students can speak more naturally. Develop cultural competence. Learners understand not only language but also culture, enrich vocabulary. Idioms help students learn new expressions, enhances grammatic skills. Idioms, students learn how to use language appropriately in real situations. Because of this benefit, idioms should be included in language teaching. To conclude, my research shows that English and Uzbek idioms have both similarities and differences. Some idioms are similar because they are based on universal human experiences. Others are different because they are reflecting culture, history, traditions of a nation. The main finding of my research is that also English and Uzbek belong to different language families. Many things are based on human experiences, while culture-specific idioms reflect the unique values of each nation. Therefore, idioms are not only language units, but also important areas of culture. Thank you very much for your attention. I will be happy to answer your questions.
Masalah sorularınız da var.
Well, while working on your qualification work, have you faced such kind of phrase like figurative language? Have you ever come across this kind of figurative language?
You mean Botswana?
Figurative language. Can you understand the meaning of this phrase?
Figurative Botswana. Yes, I said many figurative meanings because we cannot translate word by word idioms. For example, with the eye, it is the batik. We have Uzbek equivalent. We use Uzbek equivalent. We cannot understand its
Well, you mentioned about cultural endurance. Yeah, this teaching can enhance the student's cultural wealth. Maybe we can say they know the people who live in another country, for example, like England. Yeah. The teacher should know their culture, yeah? If they know their culture, if they can understand, they can translate, they can try to explain the phrase, yeah? And for example, to be in a tight corner, like this idiom, yeah? Like be born with silver spoon, yeah? Like this idiom, if the teacher yourself doesn't know the meaning of this idiom, they cannot explain it, yeah? Yes. Well, how do you think it is important to be aware of these analysis or maybe the figurative language or these for the language teacher? How do you think? It is important for them to know this one.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, teacher, for your question. It's definitely important in language teaching because idioms make speech more natural and interesting and expressive. They are widely idioms are important parts of language. It's important teaching and daily communication.
Difficult question. Shall we ask another question? First of all, my congratulations on the designing process. So here I have a question. So while doing your research, what kind of strategies do you use in order to translate English idioms into Uzbek or Uzbek idioms into English? There was maybe some strategies to translate them.
I used in my research, during my research, I used two equivalent methods. And
so this one is about finding equivalent of English idioms in English.
yes.
Sometimes we don't have some equivalent of English idioms in Uzbek language. So in that case, how can you translate it? How can you deliver the message of the idiom to the
If there's not influence in another language, you can explain the meaning.
by giving definition of it?
Yes.
Okay. Is it all right? So two ways. One is to use in your research in order to translate idioms from one language into another one. Yes. This is like strategy to find out the equivalent of it. And the second one is they don't have any equivalent in another language to describe or to give definition of it. Yes. By explaining.
Thank you.
Any difficulties you come across while working on this research?
I felt many one of the main difficulties because it's culture difference. We cannot understand the culture, but we cannot translate the meaning.
So she also mentioned, she asked the question about whether the teacher should have this kind of competence. It is important for teachers to be like cultural mediators in the classroom or not. So in your opinion, this is really important for teachers to be cultural competent person. In order to explain this kind of idioms or different kind of cultural situations to learners to be understandable.
Sağ
Good morning, honorable members of the commission and dear teachers. I'm Now I'm going to present my graduation qualification work entitled Developing Listening Skills Using Podcasts and Videos. We know that listening is one of the most important language skills. It is a first skill that language learners face difficulties in listening because native speakers often speak quickly or use different accents or including idiomatic expressions. For this reason, modern teaching methods increasingly use digital technologies such as podcasts and videos. Okay, now I would like to present the main point of my research. Okay, listening is a fundamental language skill because it provides learners with linguistic input. Without understanding spoken language, it is difficult to develop speaking, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Many English learners struggle with listening tasks due to slow speed, newer accent, or natural conversational language. Traditional classroom materials are often limited or do not solicit learners for real-life communication. Today, technology offers many opportunities for language learning, and podcasts and videos provide authentic language exposure and help learners experience real-life communication situation. Therefore, videos and podcasts have become valuable for developing listening skills. Okay, the object of my research is the process of developing listening skills using digital learning resources, especially podcasts and videos. The subject of my research is that the use of podcasts and videos effective teaching tool for improving English listening comprehension skills as a ESL learner. Okay, the main aim of the study is to analyze effective methods of improving listening comprehension and also to understand the pedagogical value of these tools in English teaching. To achieve this aim, I studied theoretical approaches, analyzed videos and podcasts, and also I examined their use in classroom activities. In addition, the practical significance of this research is that listening skills influence speaking, vocabulary, pronunciation, and also communication ability. In addition, this research increased motivation and also support independent learning. Okay, listening is often considered passive skill. However, in reality, it is an active cognitive process. When learners listen, they first hear sounds, then recognize words and the grammatical structure, and then they understand their meaning. After that, they interpret message and finally respond. This process requires attention, memory, and also language knowledge. This understanding of listening is supported by several important theories that form the theoretical framework of my research. This topic has been widely studied by many researchers in the field of language teaching. Their studies compare that authentic materials and effective listening strategies play an important role in developing listening comprehension. First, Stephen Krashen includes hypothesis stated that a language is acquired when learners receive comprehensible input, with learners' language that is slightly above their current level, but still understandable. Podcasts and videos provide learners with this kind of authentic input. Second is research communicative language teaching emphasizes that language is learned most effectively through meaningful and authentic communication. Digital materials expose learners to real-life language and their communication. Third, when the grid and those metacognitive listening strategies explain that skillful listeners plan before listening, while listening, and also post-listening. Listening to evaluate their performance afterwards. Their strategies help learners become more independent and effective listeners. Fourth, according to field, listeners involve bottom-up processing, which focuses on sound, words, and grammar, and also top-down processing, which uses background knowledge and context to contrast meaning. Finally, rules describe as listening is an active cognitive progress in which learners interpret, understand, and also respond to spoken language rather than simply hearing words. Together, this theory provides a strong theoretical foundation for my research and supports the use of podcasts and videos as effective tools for improving listening comprehension. Okay, in my research, I studied 5 types of listening skills. The first one is intensive listening, where learners focus on details and language forms such as grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. The second one is extensive listening, where learners listen for understanding long and numbers. The fifth one is critical listening, where learners analyze and evaluate information. Each type develops different skills and overall listening ability. One important part of my research is the role of podcasts and videos in developing listening skills. This will provide authentic language and real-life communication. Learners can hear different accents, natural speech, and also accent types. Podcasts are very beneficial for learners because listeners focus only on listening, which improves understanding, comprehension, and concentration. Videos also very useful and they provide visual support such as gestures, facial expressions, and also context, which makes understanding easier. Overall, they create a realistic and engaging learning environment. Another important aspect is selecting appropriate materials. Materials should match learners' level. If they are too difficult, learners may lose motivation. If they are too easy, there is no progress. They also contain authentic language and also interesting topics. Teachers need to consider speed, vocabulary level, length, and also accent type. And the careful selection helps learners understanding better and avoid confusion. Therefore, material selection is very important for listening instruction. My research identified features that improve listening comprehension. They include clear pronunciation, moderate speech speed, natural intonation, contextual support, and also logical structure. And videos are especially helpful because they combine audio and visual information, which reduce difficulty and understanding easier. Overall, these features make podcasts and videos very effective tools. Okay, listening instructions consists of three stages. The first stage is pre-listening stage. In this stage, learners prepare by predicting topic and learning key vocabulary. The second stage is while listening stage. In this stage, listeners and learners complete the task and also listen for understanding main items. They complete tasks such as multiple choice tasks or note-taking tasks or and then post-listening. In this stage, listeners discuss, summarize, and express their opinions. And this stage makes learning more structured and effective. Assessment plays an important role in my research. I conducted the practical part of the study with learners ages 15 to 18. I used the pedagogical experiment together with pre-test and post-test methods. First, I gave the pre-test to identify my students' initial listening level. Then, I took listening lessons using podcasts and videos for 6 to 8 weeks. During the assessment, I used listening tests, note-taking tests, and oral response, and also reflection activities to evaluate my students' progress. The post-test results showed clear improvement. The oral listening score increased from 53% to 71%, which means an improvement of 18%. In addition, students improved their vocabulary, pronunciation awareness, and also confidence in listening. These findings show that podcasts and videos are effective tools for developing learners' listening skills, and they are used with appropriate teaching methods.
Sağ olun hocam. Şimdi sağ olun.
Okay, Bravo, thank you very much. My congratulations. So if you answer the question, the topic is really important and interesting one about listening skills using vocab and video. And during your presentation, you gave information about the first and the second chapter, but I'm interested in the third one because it's about your internship process. Yes. Okay, so in your research, you said that you used TED Talk, podcast,
Yes.
kind of podcast, in order to improve videos, in order to improve listening skills of learners. So can you explain me the procedure of using TED Talk videos in order to improve the listening skills of learners? So your own experience, which you use in your classes, in internship process, video learning. What did you do in pre-stage, in viral stage, and in post stage of your lesson by using TED Talk in order to improve their learners' listening skills? Is the question clear?
Yes. Thank you for your question. I work as a teacher at the school, and firstly I use specifically listening audios for my students. Firstly, it was very difficult for my learners, and then I saw one interesting difficult video in YouTube, and I thought I need to use this video for improve my learners, and then firstly their level was A2 and B1 level. Firstly, I showed them this video. They didn't understand anything, and I used them understand to my facial expression and gestures, and also with my fingers to understand. It will be understandable for them. And next lesson was more easier and understandable for them. After 5 or 6 weeks, they understood easy, and then finally I think it was very useful and helpful method for me and for my students.
Okay, one way of explaining the topic that you just for learners was using your like body language. So I'm asking about the procedure of the lesson. What did you do in pre-stage of the lesson? What did you do in viral stage and in post stage? You said that the video was difficult for them to understand. So in pre-stage, did you work on some vocabulary in order to be understandable for them while watching the video?
Yes, firstly, as I mentioned, it was very difficult for them. Firstly, I asked them, did you understand? They keep silent, and then I noticed some new words, key words, and then I pointed this video, and they still keep silent and just show this video, and then I try to explain my words in men o'zim nimaga aytib o'tgandek darslarda küçük privat kurslardan iborat deb aytdim va men bu narsani o'zimni darslarimda ham qo'llaganman va free qismida videoni qo'yib bersam va o'quvchilarimga degan bo'lganligi uchun birinchi so'radi, hop tushunarlimi? Bolalar jim o'tirishda davom etganidan keyin men bolalar videoni ko'ramiz, u nima qildi? Hop yurdi, yurmoq nima ekan? Mana nima qilyapti? O'tirmoq nima deb o'tiryapti? Ha, demak bu bunaqa ekan. Men mana shu narsani birinchi so'rab olganim free qismi sizlar tushunyapsizlarmi? Mana nima bo'lishi mumkin? Bu nima deyishi mumkin? Bu viral qismida bo'lgan, free qismida bo'lgan bo'lsa, viral qismidan men o'quvchilarimdan ularga yangi so'zlarni o'rganib tushunyaptimi yo'qmi uni so'rab olgan bo'lsam va oxiridagi
mana strategiyalarni hisobga olgan holatda videoni moslashtirish kerak deyapti. Faqat autentik materiallar auditoriyaga moslashtirilmagan materiallar hisoblanadi. Ularni o'quvchi burada adaptatsiya qiladi, ya'ni mashqni asosida adaptatsiya qiladi. Ular polностью o'zgartirib yubormaydi. Hop, o'shani tish qismida boshida zo'rga bilan ishlashimiz kerak. O'sha ichidagi yangi so'zlar, o'quvchilarimiz uchun yangi bo'lgan so'zlarni yozib, o'shalar bo'yicha guruhlarda yoki juftliklarda ishlatib, ularga ham bir eksersiz bersangiz bo'ladi. O'shani tushunganini anglaganingizdan keyin asosiy qismga yo'naltiradigan bo'lsangiz, asosiy qismda o'sha siz nimani xohlayapsiz? Uni listeningni qo'yishdan, video qo'yishdan asosiy maqsadingiz nima? Videodan main ideani olish kerakmi yoki specific informationlarni olish kerakmi? O'shalarga moslashtirilgan mashqlar berishimiz kerak. Yoki bo'lmasa misol uchun get feeling exercise'dan sample ko'rsatsangiz bo'ladi. In detail ma'lumotlarni olish mumkin. Yoki ikkita savol berib turib, main idea nimadan iborat ekanligini bilish. Mana shular o'sha jarayonni rivojlantirishga sizga yordam beradi. Va oxirida o'shani birgalikda tekshirganingizdan keyin ularda qanaqa qiyinchiliklar bo'ldi, nimani tushunmadi va video haqida ularni o'zidan guruhlarga bo'lib qolgan holatda samarali turib bitta paragraf yozinglar yoki bir paragraf hikoyacha yaratinglar desangizlar, o'sha listening testlar bilan foydalanilgan holatda ularga manfaatli bo'ladi. Men ana shuni xohlayman sizdan.
Yarın bir yıl devam işlerinde nasıl qanaqa vazifalar oldingiz yo'q bo'ldingiz va qaysilarga erishdingiz?
Hop, birinchi o'rinda men listeningni o'zim uchun olganim. Sababi men o'ylaganimki, til o'rganishda birinchi bo'lib speaking muhim rol o'ynaydi deganman. Va CPT kursida o'qib yurganimda shuni bildim, har bitta stilni o'z o'rni bor. Va men listeningni o'rganib yurganimda yo'q, speaking emas, aslida listening birinchi o'rinda bo'lganligini bildim. Shunda va u haqida ko'proq ma'lumot olishni istadim. Nima sababdan listening birinchi o'rinda? Nima sababdan muhim rol o'ynaydi? Mana shu narsani o'rganishni xohladim va men o'zim sanab o'tgandek bir ikkita olimlarni ishlarini o'qib chiqdim, teoriyalarini o'rganganimda nima sababdan? Speakingni rivojlantirish uchun ham sizlar listeningni rivojlantirish kerak. Sababi birinchi tinglar ekanmiz uni. Tinglarni tushunar ekanmiz. Shu narsani tahlil qilar ekanmiz. Tahlil qilganimizdan keyin uni gapira olar ekanmiz.
Chalg'imang, savol boshqadan bir yil uchun qanaqa vazifalar oldingiz qo'ydingiz va qaysilarga erishdingiz? Ishingiz yuzasidan. Umumiy general idea. Nima vazifani vazifalar qo'ydim, shularga erishdim.
Hop, meni bilmayman mavzusi listenni rivojlantirish uchun podkast hamda videolarda rol. Ularda rolini o'rganaman va ular nima uchun qo'llanilishini, ularga o'rganishni. Yo'q, men uchun tushunarli bo'lmaydi bu. Va men o'zim uchun bu narsani o'rganib, o'zim uchun tushunarli qilmoq uchun shu narsani oldimga qo'ydim. Nima sababdan bular rol o'ynaydi? Podkastlarning nima foydasi bor? Kimlar uchun foydali? Videolar kimlar uchun foydali? Ana shularni o'rganishni oldimga qo'ydim va ularni o'rganaman.
Vazifalar. Nimaga bu savol berayotganim sababi vazifa ko'rsatilmaydi. Vazifa yo'q, apparatni masalasi. Bo'lmasa ham aytaman, vazifa, maqsad, yangilik degan narsa yo'q. Birinchi savol, ikkinchisi, bilmayingiz yozish jarayonida birorta maqola ko'rdingizmi? Shu listening skill bo'yicha. Birorta maqola ko'rmagansiz. Umuman olganda maqola nimasi? Maqolada примерно eng kamida 10 ta adabiyot ro'yxati bo'ladi oxirida, ya'ni reference qismida. 60 bitdan ortiq bo'lmay yozgansiz. To'g'rimi? Mana bu 16 ta adabiyot ro'yxatidan shakllanadi. Agar 20 ta bo'lgan taqdirda ham har 3 betga bittadan to'g'ri keladi. Bu degani bitta adabiyot bilan tanishib chiqib, siz 3 bet bo'lmay yoza olgan bo'lasiz. Agar 20 ta ishlatsangiz. Даже 20 ta ishlatsangiz. Juda ham qiziq bo'ladi. Endi nima qilamiz? Hop.
Türkçe programı yapıyoruz. Açıkçası onu ayrılıyor. İçkiler onu bir yapıyor. Bu tipograf maskelerimiz maskeleri yapacağım.
Kemudian sorular, kursus, informasi. Sonra Navaktaki internal XIMOYA'mız en iyi legal grupta yani normal administrasyonda rapor follow and work aims in expanding student vocabulary knowledge knowledge'da mirafa aynı formüller yaptığı şartlarını sorduğumuzda iki taraflı sıfatında XIMOYA konularının cevapları verdiği Raşida Kırdıroğlu'nda ve başka taraflı sıfatında Mamajon ve Lozim'in aksamlarına ekip bilgiler. Bugün ondan beri var sosyal
Assalamualaikum, dear honored teachers and professors. Today I am very pleasant to present my bachelor's degree thesis on the topic of crossword puzzles and word games in expanding students' vocabulary knowledge. The reason why I chose this topic is that this is really interesting topic and useful topic these days. So that's why I chose this topic. So, introduction. First of all, what is vocabulary and what is its importance? Vocabulary plays a very important role in our life. It doesn't matter what kind of language we are learning. First of all, we need to have a wide range of vocabulary to present our ideas, to communicate with other people, and to read academic books or to read any kind of book. Without good vocabulary knowledge, people cannot express their ideas, they cannot solve their problems, but when students have good vocabulary, they can actively participate in classroom discussions or they can be active during the classes. And if I talk about challenges, of course, vocabulary learning has always main challenges. The first main challenge is that some students have bad memory and they may not have good learning methods of learning vocabulary, so that's why they can face some challenges. And some students have bad vocabulary memory, and of course teachers and their parents, their peers play a very important role when supporting them. For example, teachers can provide them with necessary beautiful and fast methods that students can use to learn vocabulary. And the solution, of course, educational games and crossword puzzles and different kinds of games can be really interesting and they can be useful. Because today students are really obsessed with technological equipment like phones, laptops, or computers, and teachers can use their interests to help them learn new vocabulary. And first of all, we know that traditional method of learning vocabulary is very old and it's very boring for some students. Like teachers print out words to their students, and then students have to learn them. And this is really boring method, and some students and even teachers maybe got bored from this method. So crossword printing out, crossword puzzles, and word games is really interesting. Of course, as bibliography also, our teachers help us to learn vocabulary by different methods, and then they use it to give us crosswords and different games on monitors, and this helps us to learn vocabulary faster and to learn vocabulary in an easy way. Background of the study. First of all, global English. Today, English language has become very important language. It has
really important language since many years, and I'm really happy that I chose this language because English language helps students not only be active during class. It doesn't matter where they are. Students can find solutions to their problems, communicate with foreign people, or they can be active in everywhere. It doesn't matter whether it's at university, school, or college. And next one is innovative methods. Today, crossword puzzles and word games are really interesting and innovative methods, and students also show better interest to the lessons, to the homework when they are asked to solve crossword puzzles, or when they are asked to play word games. But I have read a lot of letters done on this topic, and I noticed that a lot of students show better performance when they are asked to do crossword puzzles than the ones who just are asked to write the words. And next one is problem statement. As I mentioned before, learning vocabulary isn't really easy, and students face different challenges. And the first challenge was forgetting newly learned words quickly. First, some students have bad memory due to many reasons like technology and lack of motivation from teachers and from their parents, and they forget words easily. Next one is limited opportunities to practice vocabulary. Today, a lot of teachers ask words one time and then they forget the word, and they don't ask the word 1 week before, 1 week after 1 week, or after 1 month. So this is the teacher's problem, the teacher's mistake, I can say that. I think after giving vocabulary, teachers need to ask their students to do classwork after 1 week or after 1 month. This helps students to remember words for a long time in their brain. Next problem is that for spelling and pronunciation mistakes. Even if we are Uzbek people, Uzbek students, we sometimes make our spelling mistakes in our Uzbek language. Though English language is also very difficult. Some words have different pronunciation and some words have different writing style. So teachers need to practice a lot with their students. Like they can give them dictation, and they can ask them to do classwork so that they have better pronunciation skills. And
thank you for your presentation. Let's ask questions. So this is
Well, nowadays, most people have mixed adult students, mixed young students, according to their background knowledge. Some of them have poor vocabulary. If they have mixed level or mixed ability, how would you teach them? How would you enhance their vocabulary? What types of teaching activities do you use?
Thank you, teacher, for the question. First of all, before giving my students different kind of exercise, when it comes to learning vocabulary, I firstly 1 or 2 weeks learn their learning style. For example, some students may be really interested in doing classroom puzzles, and some students don't want to do this. So first of all, I don't punish them, or I don't show disrespect towards them. First of all, I ask them what kind of message are you interested in. First of all, I can give them a piece of paper, all of them, and they can write their message, the best message they choose. For example, if they like get learning exercise, I will tell get learning exercise to their students. But if they prefer classroom puzzles or online games, I just provide them with online games. If some students are really shy or are really lazy and they don't want to do both of them, I just may ask them work orally. So by doing this, I can do that.
You can learn according to their interest.
Yes.
According to their level. Yes. Well, nowadays, in teaching, have you heard about this? If you have a student in your class, how do you teach them?
Thank you for the question. If I'm not mistaken, it means teaching students with some disabilities.
Yeah, yeah, I think
First of all, I'm also a teacher, and if I have some students, first of all, before entering them to their class, I ask all of my students to respect their students, first of all, because because of other students, they can lose their motivation and interest to my lesson, to the whole English language as well. And then, when it comes to teaching them, I try to do my best to be a good teacher, and I just teach them in a slower way, and I try to teach them individually. I sometimes may ask them to stay at class when others leave, so that I can teach them better, so that I can explain them better, and most importantly, I try to listen to them more, and I give them opportunity to show their interest and to show their ability to my language. I don't punish them, or I don't ask them to do things faster. And of course, there are different kind of methods I can use. First of all, some disabled students have different disabled abilities, disabled problems. If some students have bad word writing skills, I just give them more writing skills and easier writing skills.
the last one. What are the benefits of teaching puzzles? Teaching puzzles or using what they what are the benefits?
Thank you for that question. So, the first benefit is for teachers, of course. Grammar puzzles are really easy. Teachers don't need to spend their more time on creating words, creating questions by themselves, or they don't spend their time to make quizzes or make idioms by themselves. And when it comes to students, as I mentioned before, show better interest and show better participation during lessons, firstly, and secondly, help them to develop their cognitive skills. For example, their brain works faster, and they become physically active. So, for example, one student solves their classwork and they go to other students. By doing this, they cannot be bored in lessons as well. And thirdly, as I mentioned before, they have better communication skills. Of course, this is very important.
They can be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hadi, for your presentation. Very active, and you explained really well. And now, understand that we have only 45 minutes in analysis process, and in what stage did you use or use and how we use the crossword and what is the purpose of usage and which types of interactive methods in teaching. And what kind of difficulties or challenges points you notice while you are using this technique?
Thank you for that question. First of all, before the lesson, I need to know all of my students' background knowledge and interest, and then I need to find the suitable and the most interesting classwork for my students. I need to prepare them, and during this class, I don't give them exactly. First of all, I check their knowledge, or I give them first I give them vocabulary to learn, and I may ask some questions according to the vocabulary, and then after, of course, on this day I don't give. After the day they have learned the vocabulary, I can give them classwork to know whether my students learn the vocabulary at home or not. So by doing this, I can assess their vocabulary knowledge, and after they solve their classwork, I can check them fastly. Checking classwork is also really fast and easy. And after checking classwork, I can understand whether my students learn vocabulary at home or not. So I can use classwork mainly during the lesson. After explaining the topic and after doing some exercise like speaking exercise, I usually give classwork at the end of the lesson as my work, because this helps my students to forget the difficulty of my lesson and to enjoy at the I can give them. So the main problem I can face is that maybe if some students didn't learn the vocabulary, then I can find difficult.
Maybe time management.
Yes, time management, or they cannot understand the work, they cannot do the puzzles, do the crosswords, and they may scream during the lesson, they may shout, or they may interrupt other students, and then I can say these problems I may face during class.
In first stage of your lesson, do you usually use screen, stage, mobile, and open stage?
Before I
Three
prepare-
while yes, three
Yes.
stages of your
Yes.
lesson, yes? You want stage, do you usually use part of this mobile?
I usually be ready all of the crosswords before the lesson, so it means three. I train them by myself, I choose them by myself, then during the lesson I can give them. It means I use crossword puzzles in the while, I'm sorry. I give at the end of the lesson. Yes, because during the lesson, I don't ask questions, I don't ask the vocabulary, because I teach them grammar, I teach them reading, we usually read books or read articles during the lesson, and then at the end I can give them crosswords, so that they can enjoy the rest of my lesson and become happy.
But actually, any stage is still.
Yes.
In any place, for different purposes.
Yes.
As you mentioned at the end, they don't enjoy. But if it's in the middle of the lesson, so you can check whether they learn the vocabulary.
Yes.
About the pre-stage of the lesson, you can check before lesson, last lesson vocabulary, from a side, from a side.
Yes.
So as teacher mentioned, so you can use it in all stages of the lesson with different purposes. Okay, here I have one question. In your presentation, you mentioned that you worked, you researched a lot of resources in order to do this regular verification work. Okay, what kind of new things you learned for yourself while working on these different kinds of resources? What kind of new strategies you learned for yourself in order to using crossword puzzles and board games and expanding students' vocabulary? What did you learn for yourself?
Thank you, teacher, for the question. First of all, when I was learning the language, English language, I didn't solve any crossword puzzles. I thought that they are really boring, but still I prefer traditional methods at the time when I learned. But as I became a teacher, and I understood that they are really easy to assess my students' knowledge. Rather than traditional acting methods, and then I understood that they are really fast and easy ways to assess my students in a short time. And then some students, I usually do this. I usually give crossword puzzles in my lessons as well. So the students who are really lazy or who don't have really good interest in my lessons show better performance during my lessons when I give them crossword puzzles. And slowly, I was able to engage nearly 100% of my students during my lessons. So I can say that crossword puzzles have all of my students become interested in my lessons. And during research, I understood that they have good benefits to our cognitive ability as well. They help students to think better, think in a fast way. For example, if they need to solve problems, they can do it faster. And next advantage is that they help students to have better communication skills. Of course, a lot of students, even we as a student, can have communication mistakes, but it helps my students, and it will help a lot of students to have less communication mistakes, I hope.
minimum 10 chapterda evaluat qilish kerak. Sizga talabga javob bermaydi. Adabiyot ro'yxatini havolalarni shakllantirishda bir 10 nechta atrofida kamchiliklar bor. Keyin apparat qismi kirish qismi deyiladi. Sevmediğinde ihtiyaç anlamaya, huzurlu doğal davranmaya, suratı muamma bu şekilde pozitif yani hem solda yani pozitif. Sonra kullanırız, bundan keyin bakalım e'lon XIMOYA'mız en büyük grup aralığı olan nazorat platformumuzda role of mobile applications in vocabulary acquisition knowledge'da İngilizler, aktiviteler, objekteler, kapitalizm, odaklandırılır yolda hiç tartışmasızda ana reformcunun kapitalizmler familya ve kalemler nazımına ve karşılarımız Türkçe olan şeyleri tatlı ediyor bildiğim. Bir ondan
Good morning, dear and respected teachers. First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my relation to you. Before I start, I'd like to ask you a simple question. How many times do you use our phone every single day? Most of us use them many times. We text our friends or for social media or search for information and many other ways. But what if we could also use our phones to improve our English? Today I'm going to present my graduation thesis entitled The Role of Mobile Application, Europe and Memory in Vocabulary Acquisition. In my presentation I will explain why vocabulary is so important and when we use Europe and Memory. Let's begin with the start of my presentation. I would like to give you a short overview of today's presentation. In the first chapter, I explained the basic information and ideas belong to the vocabulary, and I also compared traditional learning style and the technological, like mobile assisted language learning or more. And in the second chapter, I focused on two applications. In my study, it's called like a Duolingo and Memory. And in the chapter, I explained how I collected data and what results I found after my work. Introduction. Vocabulary is one of the most important parts of learning language. The technology, mobile applications have become more popular in people. So let's imagine you are waiting for a bus or while you're drinking a cup of tea, you look through some application and you learn 10 words every single day. After 10 years, what will happen? Let's say after 8 years, what will happen? Each learner can learn any language within their home and if they have time and knowledge. Before we talk about mobile application, we should first understand why this topic has become so important. In the past, students usually learned the vocabulary in the list of the vocabularies or the many groups. And it is not possible, and you cannot
they cannot change their address in their plan. However, the Duolingo and Memrise can open the door of learning new strategies and the style of this. And instead of only reading words, they use students can listen to the presentation as a native person and emphasis and play short games and take a motivation after that they learn. Now let's see the research. Relevance of the research. Why this every research should answer one important question. Why does this study matter? I believe this topic is relevant because mobile technology has become a part of our daily life and each student has its own mobile phone. For that reason, learning vocabulary or other things can be interesting and flexible during the research. Degree of study. Before starting my own research, it was important to understand what other research has already discovered. I believe
Research methods.
research methods. First, I conduct a literature review. Let's and comparison between Duolingo and Memrise languages. As you know, Duolingo is another app and Memrise is another app. However, there are some differences between both of them. First of all, Duolingo provides structures and unified learning style, and they give the inspiration for each learner. After perfect lesson, they said the scientist should take your brain. Like it is a kind of motivation, and when the students see this kind of motivation, they feel not bored and interested in that topic. And the second aspect is vocabulary presentation. Duolingo uses new words from sentences, features, and interactive exercises. However, Memrise presents vocabulary in real life. Native people read the words and vocabulary. And next is memory technique. Duolingo uses repetition during lesson, and Memrise uses speed repetition. Research methodology. As you can see, I use this method in my class as a research teacher. 25 English language learners at the B1 and B2 level participated in the research. You can see this part. And they were...
Did you cover B2 level students?
Yeah, B1 and B2. It is not strong enough. Global. They were selected because they had similar language proficiency and level. So that reason. And the next part is the research instrument. I collect reliable data, and I use several research tools, including vocabulary worksheets, quiz, and puzzles, as Duolingo and Memrise can give. And after completing the learning activities, I collect all data for analysis. And I did pre-test and post-test after collecting data. Yes, you can see that my test overview and results and analysis. First, all participants completed the test to identify the initial vocabulary level, and the result was that the average score 50. However, I think phone is not a distraction part of the lesson. If English teacher or any teacher use in a other way, they will this is difficult. Thank you for
Okay, thank you for presenting that. Very interesting. And also noted, and we have one question for you. The first one is you explained that you use this mobile application for the students who are in B1, B2 class. Does it mean they are university students?
No. At the school, 11 and somehow 10 form. 11 form students they are B1.
Yeah. 11, 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Okay, and what kind of content or topics
Yeah.
did you choose in order to teach vocabulary them? And then what is the purpose of choosing this content for them?
Okay, thank you. I selected 25 students, and they are the lower and the stronger level. And Duolingo and memory, they both of them give the topic, like traveling or part of the technique. They have the topic, and I mentioned you should take your phone and install this app, both of them, and 5 of them. Yes. 10 of them able Duolingo, and 10 of them give memory, and 5 of them will see music. And
Does you have to choose different topics according to their level?
No, then
Same content, but how to say
the app can give itself. Yeah.
Isn't that it has?
Yeah, from the beginning.
According to the degree.
Yeah.
Did you confuse the textbook for this grade also, or the topics do not match to this textbook content?
Okay.
Dersliklerde mağdurları, notları, sosyal topiklerde yapılmışlar,
First of all, if the student or user mention the level, let's say, I am strong and sister strong human, and we mention our level, and the app gives the question or task for our level. For that reason, B1 and B2 is suitable for all members of class.
So that's the approach for that.
Çünkü derslikler mağdurları düşünüyor. O şeyin notları olmak mı? But anyway, you should choose content, whether they are offering different. Maybe the app is offering different kind of content, and you may choose appropriate one. According to their level, according to the content.
If you have the first one, then I give it homework. Because in the class we cannot manage the time. For that reason, I give it as a homework, and they do because of the interest. What will happen at the end?
You know about the IT composition also. So in teaching process, every time you should rely on the content, on the syllable of the subject, the content, the topic. But teachers should be flexible to choose different kind of coursework. You should follow this content thing, but you will be able to use different kind of maybe applications to teach this topic or different kind of coursework. But we should follow to teach the topic according to the syllabus.
Onu neden biliyor olmazsa?
Çünkü İngilizce bir öğretmen hocası geldi. derecede bileşikler veren, sefer dayan, ilk doktorların veren bir program. Neydi o? Üç flexible bileşikler. Aynı uçağı hani dersteki mağdur bu çizgilik yapışanlar bacak kısmından dedi. Belki üçüncü konuşmadan kadar yapılattı. Aynı bu mağduru yok dersen kabul ediyor ki mağduru taşımak, taşımak olmazdı. Bu mağduru başka mağduru ortaya tamam oluşuyor. Olarak etlerimizden söylenmemizden dolayı. Fakat etimizi tasarlayan mağdurlarına belki tam tersi boşlukta bilgiyen mağdurlarına standart oluşu maksatlı mağdurları. Uşandık, davranmasıyla, davranmasıyla, mağdur oluşuyor.
Aynen oldu. Güzel, hastalıklarına karşı
Bu çünkü bizim hastalıklar kısmına aksini çok koyarız. Konsept edildiği mağdurlarını bile görüyor ve bir kişiye kadar anlaşılmasın yaratır. Application bu işi bir yanarları için anlaşılmasın yaratır. Byteboard bu iştir.
Ya, application ülkesinde bu ülke arasında mesela bir soru ödeniyor. Bu ülkelerde nasıl olduğuna publik olsa
bu sorularımız başka sorular değil, bu şey bu topiklerin dasturda strukturla belirlenen bu soruların için fakat bunu tam olmuş şekilde bu. Fakat kurs bugünü fakat application'a koyduğunuz falan başka yine mangalardan koyduğunuz ortamı.
çünkü kontenjanı ülkede deneyiz, orada bırakta deneyiz. Mesela sıcak bir dönem mi?
Uçan ayakta bir flexible.
Bu için
Herkes bir flexible olmuş gibi. Masla var Türkiye'ye.
What is the biggest priority? Memorize application rather than do a minimum. Sometimes do a little on the level. Memorize is another advanced one. Compared to the exam, people
Memorize is the app that they pronounce as a music and real life. Let's begin. I use a French learner and they pronounce the word not animation and real life. Duolingo uses animation way, some kind of gamification. However, memorize is somehow boring than Duolingo. However, it gives great opportunity to learn and pronunciation only.
Thank you.
I just want to say, here in the second chapter you mentioned about memorize and about the strategies to use in this application. Yes? And here is the mnemonic strategy. What are the benefits of using mnemonic strategies? Because nowadays in most educational centers they use mnemonics for different kinds of purposes. So in your work, what are the main benefits of using mnemonic strategies in memorized application?
The benefits, I think, repetition, because if you learn vocabulary in a one, today, let's say, today I learned vocab from the memory. After a month, I couldn't say anything about this vocab. For the reason, I think the mnemonic has the repetition for the
It increases lifestyle skills of the students, right? Yeah. With that frustration, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Martha.
Thank you.
Nazorat eğitim XIMOYA'sı ilk bölümde milli davası, OME'de analizde, utanmaması, İngilizler, vatandaşlar da utanmakta use of authentic materials teaching listening comprehension altında. Kitapçı, pedagog kafanın bazıları zaten raşitlerin olarak hem uygulayını. Anda kaç takmışçı amatör olduğunu atam. Size 10 var.
Good morning, respected teachers, honorable members of the commission, and dear participants. My name is Wakida, and today I am honored to present my bachelor's qualification thesis entitled "The Use of Authentic Materials in Teaching English Listening Comprehension." As you know, listening is one of the most essential skills for language learners, but still many students experience serious challenges, difficulties understanding authentic spoken English. And this research investigates how authentic materials can improve students' listening comprehension and prepare them for real life communication. And let me begin with a simple question. Many students can pass listening examinations, listening tests successfully in the classroom environment, but they cannot understand real life English, real English conversations. Why does this happen? And this question inspired me to conduct this research. As you know, traditional classroom listening usually contains slow speech, clear pronunciation, limited vocabulary, and predictable content. But real life English is totally different. Students may face fast speech, different accents, natural vocabulary, unpredictable content, and these kinds of things can make students frustrated. I think students can succeed in the classroom environment with different kinds of listening activities, but they cannot understand real English. The relevance of this topic increases because of globalization, digital technologies, and international communication, and also this situation require people to understand authentic English rather than simplify traditional classroom recording. And also, this situation made the authentic material the essential component of language teaching, modern language teaching. In my diploma work, I also reviewed several previous studies conducted by both international and Uzbek scholars. In their work, foreign scholars mainly focused on listening strategies, listening in the real contexts, and also Uzbek scholars mainly focused on the using authentic materials in the classroom. But I strongly believe there is still a need for practical methodological framework with working with authentic materials. That's why I conducted this research. The aim of this research is to investigate the methodological foundation of using authentic materials and analyze their effectiveness in the classroom environment. And to achieve this goal, several research objectives were identified, like analyzing listening comprehension, define authentic materials, examine psychological factors, explore teaching strategies, conduct experimental study, and ultimately evaluate the effectiveness of authentic material. And first of all, in my after introduction to my diploma work, I tried to give detailed explanations about what is authentic material. Authentic materials are resources which are prepared for authentic purposes, rather than teaching purposes. And they are podcasts, BBC news, real conversations, songs, and videos. In this study, classification of authentic materials is like a complex issue. Due to the diversity of available resources. And in my chapter 1, I tried to explains the detailed classification of authentic materials and one common approach to categorize them based on their mode of presentation, like audio, visual, and audiovisual. And here you can see examples for each one. In classroom environment, using authentic materials can be more beneficial because by the help of working with authentic materials, students can experience different accents, natural pronunciation, real vocabulary, which are so important to use English in the classroom, outside the classroom. And also, by the help of working with authentic materials, students can be aware of cultural references, cultural idioms, and also some kind of English traditions, which are so important for students to use English in the real context. And also, it can give higher motivation and confidence for students because when students start to understand real conversations, native speaker speech, or different kinds of songs, they will be so happy, they proud of their knowledge. And ultimately, it can be very beneficial for their communicative concepts. Even in this situation, working with different kinds of authentic materials, students may face different kinds of challenges, like fast speech, different accents, unknown vocabulary, and even this kind of situation may demotivate students to understand authentic materials. But these challenges can be overcome through proper scaffolding and task design. And also, in my diploma work, I try to focus on psychological and pedagogical factors. I mean, the effectiveness of authentic materials is not only based on the quality of resources, quality of materials, but also is based on the psychological, pedagogical factors like learner motivation, background knowledge, cognitive processing, metacognitive awareness, and the most important thing is listening strategy. I mean, teachers, while using this kind of authentic materials, they should focus on students' proficiency level. They should analyze their background knowledge, and also they should select authentic materials according to students' interests, their life, and dislikes. And also, I propose this methodological framework for working with authentic listening materials like self-listening, bio-listening, and post-listening. And here in my diploma work and also this slide, I try to give explanation in which stage what we should do. For example, self-listening, we should activate students' background knowledge and we should take vocabulary.
Thank you very much. It was really beneficial.
Thank you.
So, you wanted to give explanation about the state of authentic materials. Here I have the question. From your own experience in your practical process, can you explain the whole procedure when you use authentic materials? As you mentioned, authentic materials are materials which are not specifically designed for the classroom purposes. They are real-life materials. So how did you use this kind of authentic materials in your practical process class? Just explain one of the classes where you use authentic materials. Let's talk class as you mentioned, for example. Is the question clear?
Yeah, thank you for the question. In my experimental study, first of all, I tried to gather students' background knowledge and their dislikes and likes. And then I selected proper authentic materials. For example, some students say they really like listening to songs or watching movies, and in my classroom settings, I try to implement this kind of authentic material.
So can you explain one lesson where you use this authentic material? What did you do in pre, while, and post stage of the lesson with the help of authentic material?
First of all,
because you wanted in your presentation to explain the procedure of using authentic materials, that's why I asked you this
topic. For example, pollution or some kind of deforestation, and then
So in the beginning, you worked on vocabulary related to podcast.
and also we try to focus on predicting content. While listening, we focus on this podcast, and with my students, we listen to this podcast. And first of all, we just try to take many ideas of listening. I mean, listen for this, and then we listen this podcast for specific information. For example, data or some kind of year. And then we try to focus on identifying key ideas and the purpose of this podcast and understand speaker intention. For example, if any kind of speaker speak about environmental problems, they try to give their own intention, their own opinion, and after listening for that and listening for this information, we try to analyze speaker's intention. And then for listening, we try to discuss these environmental problems, and I try to ask some kind of solution from students, and also I can take a lot of effectiveness, and I should see the effectiveness of alternative materials, and I also check students' communicative concepts.
Well, very good. Thank you for your answer. And the first one is, how do you assess your student listening using alternative theory? Do you assess your students? Then you use alternative theory in your classes?
On each lesson or after the experimental study?
General. As a teacher, yes, imagine you are a teacher. How do you assess your students if you use such alternative theory? Do you use or not? If yes, how can you?
So what criteria you use?
The first one and the second one. What are in your chapter 2, in your qualification work, what are the techniques and strategies for teaching listening using alternative materials? You have to mention about the techniques and strategies.
Thank you for the question. In any kind of lesson, it's so important to assess students because it affects on students' motivation and their next knowledge. And even in my lessons, I try to assess students according to their understanding, their listening comprehension. For example, after listening to podcast or audio material, I ask them some kind of question. And according to their answers, I ask them. If I say about overall experimental studies, after experimental studies, all groups, experimental and control groups, completed post-test, and I gathered the statistics of them, and ultimately I saw the experimental group reached higher scores in this test, and I assessed their knowledge with working with alternative materials. I don't know how to do it.
What are the techniques?
In my diploma work, I proposed a methodological framework like listening, while listening, and post-listening, and this framework can be so beneficial, so important to use different kinds of techniques, and also in my experimental study, I used different kinds of techniques like task-based listening, problem-based listening, and I try to use transcript listening, and kind of
challenges understanding if they have poor cultural elements. Some students use cultural elements, yeah? From the sentences while they are listening, they need to not understand, yeah, what they don't know.
In this situation, we listen to the podcast or audio again and again. Because the technology materials are so difficult to understand because they are native speakers speak. That's why. And also, I try to give motivation for my students.
Sometimes students can be culture shock, yeah, while they are listening.
And I explain it English culture in the classroom because it's so important to understand not only English culture but also this authentic material.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please, thank you.
양질이냐고 실제 양질이고 여덟 부분이나 또다른 또 이 부분은 The use of educational topics in language teaching benefits and challenges found with the the
Master is the use of relationships in language terms, the benefits and challenges. So why mathematics is important? Because nowadays English is becoming more popular and students must learn English not only sitting on the in the class
class in outside world. And students need opportunities to use language in real situations like in trade educational. And traditional classrooms cannot always provide authentic communication. Like while sitting in the class, students talk with each other and they just get only only teaching atmosphere. But while we are in educational field, students learn about our nature, and if we are in museums or some historical places, students know about our culture and history too. And this provides very interesting communication and atmosphere for studying them. And educational trips create meaningful learning experience, and they combine theory with practice. And in my research, I include both of them, theoretical and practical research. So aim of my research is what to study the activities in dictional skills and in language teaching and to identify the advantages and disadvantages. So the scientific novelty of my research is the comprehensive analysis of educational fields, the combination of theory and practice. Like in my research, I combine both of them, and theory and practice of this field. So in my research, I used theoretical validation of such kind of like John Dewey, David Cole, Stefan Krashen, Leonard Brodsky, Jeremy Bruno, and Meryl Quinn. So in Dewey's theory, John Dewey believes that students learn better through experience, and he called this learning by doing. The second is David Cole. The theory of David Cole. He developed experimental learning theory. According to him, learners have 4 stages, like fourth experience, reflection, understanding, and practice. In educational fields, we use both 4 of them. And in Hashim's input hypothesis, he just argued that language acquisition offers through comprehensible input. Like educational tips provide authentic speech, natural communication, and meaningful context with real language exposure. And that Swain's output hypothesis, he emphasized that the importance of language production and educational tips encourage students to ask questions, express opinions, negotiations, and debate, which gives them which improves their fluency and confidence in learning language. Brodsky's cultural theory, he learned occurs through social interactions, communication support, and cognitive development. Educational tips create opportunity for interaction and cooperation with each other. And in Bruno's theory, he introduced that teacher support includes instruction, vocabulary support, explanation, and feedback, which gradually students began independent learning. And educational tips help students who use English naturally, improve speaking skills, increase confidence, develop communicative competence, and understand cultural aspects of language. There are 4 types of tips: academic tips, cultural, environmental, and communicative tips. Environmental tips, for example, in parks, in botanic gardens, ecological centers, students practice descriptive language, observation, and discussion skills. The second is academic tips, which universities, exhibitions, research centers, and libraries, which gives for them more academic vocabulary, critical thinking, and professional orientation. Cultural tips, they are museums, historical cities, art galleries, and cultural centers, which gives them more
information about history, and they know about our ancestors more. And the last one is communicative skills, like interviews, surveys, asking information, and group discussion, which improve their fluence, confidence, and spontaneous speaking. And the role of the teacher in such kind of skills is organizer, facilitator, viewer, evaluator, motivator, and teacher responsible include before trip, the teacher must plan in which way they are going and must give some feedback to students how to behave in such kind of places. And during the trip, they view us and support us. They just support and view the places in which they are. And after the trip, they reflect and assess students.
Okay, thank you for this presentation. Display the detail of information. I have this kind of question. In your second semester, you give this kind of part teacher and then a role during education. Let's explain from teacher's point of view. And what kind of role should have teachers when they are organizing such kind of trip? Is it educational trip or cultural trip? What is the role of teachers?
Okay, if it's educational trip, for example, if teacher wants to organize trip in such kind of museum, let's say, in such place they give for students information about our history, about our culture, and how people live, and how our ancestors lived before us, with what was for them needed in their life. And as a teacher, by this, his goal is to represent for students our beliefs and
For example, if they have a role as an instructor, as a teacher, or tutor,
yes, they have facilitator and tutor. If they have not give, teacher must be tutor and facilitator, and of course organizer, because only teacher organizes kind of trips.
Okay, finally, thank you very much for your presentation. Here I have a question. What kind of difficulties did you come across while doing your research?
Difficulties?
Were there any difficulties?
I think I don't have any difficulties because all information I got from website and internet. I have lots of information about it and about theories, such kind of people.
Okay, let's change the question. What did you learn first?
I learned lots of theories which I read from books. Like theories, I don't know. Before that, I didn't know such kind of theories, and about such kind of people, I don't know that they have such kind of argument. But after that, I learned such kind of information and their theories and how they put it in their Thank you.
Quem gostou da ligação, aí eu falei, ó, não, você não precisa. hangi yorulmuş gerek o taklit yerinde? Hangi yorulmuş gerek makinesi? En hafif bedeli anladım. Ona koydum, başladık.
Staying on the group process, kami kullanılan process, anlamamızı. The importance of innovative educational technologies in teaching models. Dijital kısmı, ama ne form dijital kartlarında aklar var hatırlatmayı var. Ders kartlarımız, inişkiler ve kartlar topluluğunda yıllar sonra kariyer yapıyoruz. Evet, ondan sonra.
Yeah. Good morning. My topic is innovative educational technologies in English language teaching. English has become an international language because of globalization, and innovative educational technologies are important nowadays and improve our English language. I aim to study innovative educational technologies in English teaching. Traditional teaching methods are sometimes not enough for most students. That's why innovative technologies are becoming necessary in education. This topic has been studied by many researchers.
Continue.
I researched by Google. Behaviorism, pedagogical and methodological foundation with the three learning theories is behaviorism, how the students feel they in the class, and the teacher also should attract their attention. And the next one is cognitivism. Mental process, AI, and adaptive platforms. How to use like apps, learning or calculus. For example, when I have a practicum in the last university, I have faced with a problem. We don't have a screen, and I started with my laptop, and I get the student interaction effective, and I start to organize my lesson with the computer. They learn more words, vocabulary from the topic, and next one is constructive. Learners build own knowledge and project-based and problem-based learning. Advantages in university context. Innovative technologies make learning more effective, flexible, and motivating. They also support modern trends such as AR, gamification, virtual reality, and e-learning. Next one. Requirements for implementation. Successfully, implementation depends on prepared teachers with digital skills, reliable technology, and motivated learners. All these factors work together to improve education. Classification of innovative technologies. I classified innovative technologies into 7 criteria. The first one is empirical, cognitive, heuristic, creative, integrative, and adaptive, and the last one is intuitive. From the terms. Developing communicative competence. How to communicate with the students in the lesson.
Okay. Your time is up, Let's move on to the questions, okay? I have a question. Let's start from your presentation. You wrote about methods, yes? About teaching methods. You wrote about schooling, yes? The first one. What is it? What is the difference between language through content, yes, and task-based learning?
The task-based learning, with task, they learn something new, and next one is what?
The first one, language through content.
Language through content. I will give them story, and they will read and analyze and give their own opinion.
That's it? Okay, this is the
Okay, Father, thank you very much for your presentation. The topic is innovative education of technologies in English language teaching. While working on this research, you did have some difficulties in understanding maybe some kind of educational technologies.
Difficulties, internet yani but I searched from internet Google, and I also did official nazorat.
madde talabalar tashabbus qilib ustozlar bilan baholangan kechuvamizda qolgan talabalar ham aytib turadilar. Hujjatlarning qanchaliklarini nomga yozib qo'yganlar.
Katta
I mean, that makes it